All right, so tier 3 is open for Diana, but we're not going to go anywhere near this. I mean, we might be able to do 600, but again, we would want speed potions and stuff, and right now, or more, it's more importantly to go get stuff for our other new champion. So let's go do the Relentless Undead for Gromma. Remember. Undead. Got that one. Remembered that one. And we'll switch over to Sentry. What else was in this formation? Yeah, like a Regis. It was a little different. Okay. That's fine. I don't want to. Let me do like a Gromma DPS. That's what we were doing before. Sure. And that's a thing. Gromma's going to be not young, not total stats there, not dexterous. Great. So it doesn't do great here. Doesn't really. Diana's not buffing her. It doesn't matter. Diana's just here for the speed effect anyway. Diana's just here for the speed effect anyway. Alright, let's go see if the game gives us. Man. Game gives us the final blue we need. Or if it kicks us in Menards. There's a blue. It's gotta be it. It's gotta be it. So process of elimination. Fine. Alright, Diana is done. She's 2 purples, 4 blues. She's done. Ooh. I think currently iteration of events are taking too much time away from other parts of the game. What iteration? What iteration have we seen? We got the event boom thing with the on and off tickers added, but it needs to be visible somewhere else. I don't know that they've changed anything. Oh, I guess I don't understand the question. I'm caught up now. I just don't understand. I don't understand Lydia's question. Current iteration, events 2.0. Do you think it's too time consuming? Oh! No? No. I mean, this is a fairly new account, and I mean, if you... I think what's confusing, I think if there's anything that's an issue, it's that people get confused that they think a new player should be able to do all tiers of content, or that any player can do all tiers of content. And I think maybe that there needs to be an explanation in the game about that. Like, tier 1 is for brand new players, tier 2 is for early game players, tier 3 is for mid game players, and tier 4 is for late game players, right? But I'm sitting here as a newer player, and I'm doing, you know, I just did all of I did tier 1 and tier 2 for Diana, just in a couple days. I don't think I mean, I know that I shouldn't attempt. I know that then I have to make a decision. Is it worth my time to try to do 600 areas in tier 3 for a single gold chest? That's a decision they have to make. That's a decision they have to make, right? But I mean, I only play this 4 or 5 hours a day, 5 days a week. I'd say that's and I don't have it trying to complete stuff when I'm offline. I just have it cycling, like our nice gem farm over here. Nice gem farm going on. I just have it doing something like that overnight in a patron thing. I think it's like it's really what are new players choosing to do. If they're making inefficient decisions, which is totally okay. Lots of players do this. Then yeah, they might be wasting a bunch of time in events trying to do stuff that they don't understand, that they can't do, or they're not supposed to be doing. Which is why I try to explain this stuff. Maybe I need to put a section in the guide about that, like in the event guide about what the probably. Yeah, you know what? Hold on. Here's my event planning guide. We're going to put a... Well, no, not event planning. We want the actual event guides. You pull up... We'll do it for this one. I have to try to remember. So I want the Great Mode on March, and then I want to get the template. So it goes in all the new stuff. Oh, I don't even use that template though. Okay. No, I'm just gonna have to try to remember. No, we'll put it in that template just for copy paste ability. So I think you can absolutely waste time, but I think people were doing that before. I think it's like learning what can you chase and what can't you chase. You got to learn it at some point. You got to learn to understand variance, what you can and can't do at some point. So I think it's definitely delivering that, but it's also giving way more rewards. Like, you have the potential to get way more gold chests, and you can customize where you spend your event tokens. I don't think that they communicate what to do with event tokens well enough. I think that could be improved upon. But again, then if you end your event, it just kind of auto spends for you, and hopefully that teaches you after your first event where you didn't spend any because you didn't know what to do with them. Yeah. I mean, I think it could be a better explained process. Like I said, I think these should have like costs, the time gate piece costs here and stuff like that. But in terms of wasting time, I think you're given more opportunities to get cool stuff. There's at least 1 or 2 tiers of buffs that could potentially be helpful to you. I think it's just not explained that the different tiers are for aren't for new players. I mean, there's mid-game players that think they should be able to do tier 4, and it's like, sit down. Sit down. No. Yeah. And people have to learn how to utilize their resources. Like here I am spinning speed potions, but even I'm learning like, which ones do I spend where, and how many levels, and what's the best place to use them, and that's me knowing when to buy chests and stuff and to get potions. Like not everybody does. Some people just save forever for all the familiars, and they wonder why they don't have the power or gear or anything. And it's like, well, you made a choice and you chose poorly, but you didn't know. Until someone tells you, you don't know, and that's. I wish the game would tell you, but without the game, you got to rely on people in the community. Plus, you have 3 weeks, and I don't. I mean, we were pushing like last time. We were pressed to the limit to the very last, the next to last day to get all of the tier 2 stuff done. And I think this time around, because of Speed Champions, again, but that was a choice that I knew to make, Speed Champions will help us get it done quicker. But again, it's knowledge, and we try to share the knowledge as freely as possible, but that doesn't mean that people are listening. Like they put stuff in the game, and they think people are just going to intuitively interact with it, but people don't. People don't. When they buried this all the way in here, and they were like, "Oh yeah, people will find that." I'm like, no, they won't. Like they come up with a lot of good ideas internally, but the implementation is not. Implementation it is lacking most of the time in terms of like usability from the player base. Feels like, and I'm not sure why that is. The play. Wow. What? Hey, we completed it. Okay. So play the game from Blackwell. So play the game is like dating. Need to know that Beyonce's out of your league, and you may need to, and you should stick to dating Halle Berry. Still might be out of your league. That still might be out of your league. But hey, who am I to say? Who am I to say? Right number of beers will make everyone Halle Berry? No, they'll make them Halle Beery. Joke. The worst joke. That's saying a lot around here. That's saying a lot around here. Okay. What do we got going on here? We need a sentry. We need a Penelope. We need a DPS. We'll make it grow. I'm gonna read this. Okay. Yeah, a lot of people. There were a lot of comments from people that seasons took too much time, and I didn't understand that. I didn't find. Again, I think this comes down to how people are interacting with it, and how people are choosing to prioritize their time. Um, I don't think people were playing the seasons very well if they were spending all their time on seasons. Um, people thought you just had to sit down and grind out all that stuff the moment it showed up. And look, as long as you were doing your regular stuff, that stuff got itself done. And that's what a lot of people just couldn't quite grasp. It felt like. Um, so now I feel like this is better because you're given focused tasks, and then you just have to choose: do you want to do that task or not? And you can try it, you can fail it, but at least you're not sitting around like wondering, do I got to grind this many X's and this many Y's? And no, you just, do you want these chests? Yes, no. Check yes, check no. Insulting. Gromma. Potion of specialization. Wow. Wow, Gromma. Wow. Enjoy your pizza. And that'd be good. But yeah, I never understood like the need for breaks on seasons. It just meant people. It felt like people were just grinding, and there wasn't a need. I never felt like I was. Never really felt like I was having to grind. Like I would change like my overnight group to a seasons group, to a seasons farm group, and then just overnight I would switch it to that, and in the morning I would come back and it would have a lot of progress, and I'd move on, and usually I'd be done within a week or two just from that. So yeah, I would say the new events is way better across the board. I think are there things that I think they could communicate better? Yes. I don't think it's a replacement for seasons. I think it's a much better improvement on events. With a better time system. Because before, if you wanted gear, you had to your time in an event was spent grinding free plays to 50, right? Even as a new player, and that's only if you knew to do it. A lot of new players didn't understand. Whereas now you just buy the tokens and go do whatever you want, and if your time, then you can spend your time attempting those tiers. But there's a hard, fast reward. You know, if you do this, you're getting a gold chest. Not I just did 3 free plays to 50 and didn't get anything for it, but hey, I get one on the next one. Like, I mean, I get that, but you get all of that and more now. I don't know. I think because I've always looked at events as mini campaigns, and in the sense of mini campaigns, I think they've aligned them with the game, the way the game works, much better. Tier 1 is your base adventure, right? Or base variant, which just about anybody can do. As long as you have the favor, you can do it. Is the way it usually works. And then tier 2 is Mert. And then tier 3 is Vajra, and tier 4 is Strahd. But maybe tier 4 is more Elminster now, actually. So maybe it's not Mert. Maybe it's tier 1 is Mert. No, tier 1 is the base. Tier 2 is probably Vajra. Tier 3 is probably Zerial. and tier 4 is Elminster, right? You're jumping through patron. You're jumping like patron versions. Higher area goals makes it much more difficult to achieve. You're getting that feeling a bit more. And like I said, I think the big issue for me is that they just is these permanent rewards. I'll be honest, I think maybe there should be one for each tier. And I don't mean they need to go do feats. Some dev just had a heart attack. Put consumables at the lower tiers. Not the pigments, but like, I don't know. Tier 2 could be a potion of polish. What could tier 1 be? I don't know. I have to think about that. But, you know, an actual, you know, reward for each tier that isn't just the buffs that go away would be neat. Would be neat. But you could normalize, you could, you know, homogenize, normalize tier 1 and 2 rewards so it's the same for everybody. So you don't have to get into that thought process. Tier 3 I like as a feat. Tier 4 I like as some high-end consumable that, you know, we don't always have access to. Yeah. I think tier 2 is a potion of polish. Honestly, if I want to be a little snarky with it, tier 1 Modron chest. I don't think anybody would get upset at a Modron. I don't think it's useful though for. Well, it might be. Maybe not someone brand new, but it becomes useful real fast. Tier 1 Modron chest. Tier 2 potion of polish. Tier 3 feat. Tier 4 high-end consumable. Yeah, I would enjoy that personally. Wait, how far are we going? 175. I forgot to turn my potion of or speed potion on. My bad. Caught up in the conversation. Because then at least, you know, everyone at every tier, you're working towards something that's more than just the gold chests are the variant rewards. Just doing a single variant gold chest. Completing a whole tier, sure, there's a buff, but it's temporary. Give me a permanent reward for each tier. I think that would be pretty cool. I don't really want it to be tier 1 to be an extra named gold chest. That feels like, I want something that's a little bigger, a little harder to get, right? That's kind of the idea of, I think, those rewards. Something that's a little harder to get. We get autogram of the event bus next year. I hope not. I would not have designed a system that way. The buffs are for 60 days from the start of the event, and then you get the rewards. And next your reward in the next year is that you don't have to do those. You're not doing that stuff again. You should be picking different champions. But if all you care about is the buffs, then you would go pick that champion again so you could get their buffs again. But I don't think that's the right way. I don't think like just having them exist would be the right way to do it, because again, you'd end up with 6 could have been the potential for year 1, and that would have been 4 of the 8 champions. Then the next year, or year 7, right? The next year there's a new champion and a new reworked champion that would add 2 to the list that would take it to 8, and then you'd have 4 different flex slots that would take it to 12. And then the next year it would take it to 14. Like, you'd run out of space on the screen if it was just a permanent thing. If that's what they want to do, more power to them. But I don't think that's a dev insights question, and I don't think that's what's going to happen. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think that's part of the decision making behind choosing which champions you're going to get when you're at max. when you're at max, what champions are you going to choose? Because then after 2 years of events, you'd have gotten them all, and then you'd be like, well, now I'm just choosing based off what just not even what chests I want, because I did all the content. So flexing a champion would then be pointless. It would just unlock the ability to buy chests for them from the shop. No, I think the point is I think it would be to flex. If you flex them again, you get those buffs back because you already completed tier 4. I think that's probably it. Yeah, Ledia. Yeah, so you only get the buffs if you flex the champion again. But the second you unlock that flex slot, it should just apply because you already completed all the stuff.